Hello and welcome to another episode of BGI's Entrepreneur Spotlight. And tonight I get to sit down and have an awesome chat with Florence. She is best known as the Chief Happiness Officer. So welcome, Florence, and thank you for joining us today. I'm so
Hello.
excited.
Hi, Hazel. It's great to be with you again.
Yay. So can you tell our community about who you are, what you do,
Right.
your bio?
Yeah, for sure. So as you mentioned, I'm your friendly Chief Happiness Officer. I have entered the coaching space, and so I'm a mental wellness in the workplace coach, and I help young professionals navigate their mental health as well as their career in their chosen field. So I do that with peer support, just with my lived experience of mental health, as well as my work experience and extensive work experience in the corporate and non-corporate world. I do believe that makes me one of the better coaches to help you and find your path.
Yes. And you have like your lived experience is so important. So that's amazing that you're bringing that to the table and to your coaching practice. Amazing,
Right.
amazing. So Florence, I love to ask people, why did you choose to become an entrepreneur?
Right. So you do have that ultimate goal of being your own boss. And so that's always been ingrained in me. But also when I was younger, I felt that I've always had an entrepreneurial streak within myself, just coming up with business ideas, thinking of ways that I can myself be my own boss. And so, as we mentioned before, for myself, the reason I entered officially entrepreneurship is when COVID happened. So to backtrack a little bit, in 2009, when I graduated from my postgraduate certificate in human resources, I did have something called Retail Medics. And so I helped people with resume development and let them know about opportunities within the retail sector. And so that was back in 2009. And to be honest, I did not really pay much attention in the sense of give it the nurturing and the love that it needed to give. So I did it informally. Of course, I did have my clients that I helped out. So that was really nice. But now fast forward to 2020 and we had something called COVID happen. So I actually did a little pivot from the resume development and I decided to enter coaching full time. And so what had happened was I left a role after a few weeks because unfortunately my physical and my mental health were actually being really tested. And so I saw that as a sign to say, Florence, I think this is the kick that you needed to do something for you. And so what I did is I actually invested into myself. And so I looked around and I did meet a business coach. And so again, shout out to Paul Orlando from the Business Launch Program, where I learned the basics of launching a coaching business. And so that gave me the tools and fundamentals in order to start that up. Of course, everything's still a progress or learn in progress kind of thing. And so I obviously didn't get it the first time around. So I'm still learning as I go along. But you know what? I'm giving that permission to myself to learn and to keep continuing learning. And so, yeah, COVID happened. And then I said, you know what, Florence, you're going to be home. You don't really have a job right now. And so what can you do? And so, like I said, I decided to invest in myself, invest in that program, learn the basics of a coaching business and get that started up. Right. And so I did have a client that I helped out, which was awesome. And then I'm still, prospecting for other clients as well. And so it's been exciting. And honestly, other entrepreneurs are there to help you out. And so I don't feel alone in this community, which is great. And you and Wendy have been just as fabulous.
Thank you. That's amazing. It's great to see your growth and how you navigated through, the highs and the lows of that whole experience and making those decisions and telling yourself it's okay, because it's really important. And it's a key because we forget to tell ourselves it's okay.
Exactly.
You're walking away from the stability of a paycheck, like all of that into this new unpredictable world. It's really important that you do the positive self-talk and say, It's okay, you're going to make it through. I have a goal, I have a vision, and stay focused to that. The road's not going to be smooth the whole time.
Yeah, as I've mentioned to other people, and a lot of people have said this on Instagram, it's not always rainbows and sunshine, people. Yeah. It's hard work for sure, but know that, and we've said this before, I try to not live with regret. And one of my good go-to sayings is you only have one fabulous life. So don't waste it doing something you don't love.
Amazing. So how does I know you have your coaching practice, but how does your new practice help your community?
Right. And so for myself, it's just synonymous, meaning helping young professionals is helping your community because they're the ones that are in your community at the beginning, right?
Right.
And so my core values have been always community, optimistic, and making a difference. And so I wanted to find something in my life that incorporated all of that. And honestly, coaching was that answer. And so I was so thankful that, you know, I could enter this space and people trust me enough to work with and know and like and trust me. So that's really important as well.
Thank you. Amazing. So, what, you know, you talked about your goals, and at the beginning of 2020, we all had these big, elaborate goals that we're going to achieve, and, you know, it's going to be the best year because it's 2020. So what were some of your goals at the beginning of 2020?
Right. So my big goals were actually really, really simple. I had 3 keywords when I started 2020, and those were family, fun, and friends. And so if I did something that incorporated all 3, if I did something that focused it on one, then I knew I met my goals. However, as we mentioned, COVID happened and I had to actually change those goals just a little bit. I still do want the family, friends, and fun. It'll just have to be in a different way because we're doing social distancing, et cetera, et cetera. But my new goal had to be, you know, building this business from the ground up, right? And putting in the work and putting in the effort that I needed to put in to make it a successful business. And so we were talking about, like in our past conversations, we were talking about giving yourself permission in order to not expect that, you know, you're going to get the 10,000 clients that you really ideally love, right? And so I gave myself permission to say, you know what, take a step back, take a break that you needed. So I literally just came back off a week detox from social media myself. And honestly, that week was great for my mental health. It was great for just my resetting and recharging and ready to crush the week for sure.
Amazing. Okay, great. I love that you shared that you took your detox and the week and how you noticed that there was a little bit of a burnout coming. So you responded to your needs and what your body was telling you right away.
Exactly.
Now, what's your goal? Like what tools do you have in place now? Because that's going to come back up again.
Right.
Okay, so what do you have in place now to combat that?
Right.
If it comes up again, is it going to look the same? Is it going to look different?
So in addition to my mental health and dealing with mental issues, I have to be a bit more careful when it comes to things like that because, you know, my thoughts can go way off or my thoughts can go way down. And so for myself, I've been very lucky to have a family and friends that are so close to me that they'll notice things within me and call me out on things, right? And so that's a great feedback and that's a great support system that I have. I also mentioned that I have a morning and a night routine that are kind of non-negotiables. And so for my morning routine, I definitely work on my mindset. So a growth and a positive mindset. I do my meditation. I read my affirmations, my business plan. And I journal if I can in the morning. And then I do have 3 decks of cards that I draw cards from as well. And then in my night routine, I again journal to like just recap the day and just honestly just dump all my thoughts in. So then I'm free when I sort of try to dream.
Right. Yeah.
And I read as well. I try to read at least 20 minutes a day if I can.
Oh, I love that. I just started inputting the reading.
What book are you reading now?
I'm going to actually show it to you.
Oh, please.
Yes, hold on 1 second.
Of course.
It's the Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. It says tiny changes. See, when we were just talking about micro wins and everything. Okay, Atomic Habits. I'll remember that.
Yeah, Costco.
I don't have a membership, but I'll back off someone.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, I just started it. We have a comment here. Yes, detoxing support systems and routines are.
Teresa's joining us on here. Awesome. Nice to see her.
Thank you, Teresa. Yes, it is absolutely very important to make sure you have those downtimes. And for my own self, I know last week I had to just take a break. I had to just
decompress.
Yeah, really look at what I'm doing because I'm I like to keep myself busy with work.
Exactly.
And then, you know, my body was telling me something else. It was saying, Hazel, you need to like stop this. Stop trying to, you know, go out there and change the whole world. It's going to be okay.
I know the world kept going on even if we took our breaks. So
I know.
the world went on.
Yeah. And I know for my own self now, this is the only thing I do on Mondays. I actually also schedule these lives I do 4 interviews, and then I take 1 Monday off.
That's good. That's awesome.
Right.
I think we were also talking, is it Mondays and Tuesdays you try to take off? Yeah, that's a really good
week.
That's a really good one.
Like my Tuesday, I still do stuff, but it's light. It's a light schedule.
Yeah. Even I've heard from other coaches. One of the coaches on LinkedIn, she had mentioned she does meetingless Mondays. So she tries not to schedule meetings on Mondays. I'm like, that's a really good tip.
Yeah. So so it's just like, and I think even being like, we're also coaches, and I think about like when we sit down and do our schedule for like how much time we want to put aside for coaching. I think a reality for me, I don't know if this is the same for you, is that you have your clients, you do your coaching sessions, but there's work that has to be done prior to the coaching session.
Exactly. There's prep work. Honestly, we are teachers in a way, because we have to do the curriculum and we have to do all these things to prep for when we actually are in those coaching calls, right?
Right. And then after the follow-up. So, and you know, you never really think, you do have you sort of have your structure of how you're preparing it, but you never really prepared. Like, because it sometimes the session goes a different direction.
Right. Exactly.
So, it's really important just to take that, like have those block times and really sit down and make sure your schedule reflects those times as well.
I think it's also important too, Hazel, to be able to be flexible. So yes, while you may have a curriculum already set, know that your clients are unique. And they have unique needs, right? That you have to attend to as well. So yeah, it's definitely important and I think that's just with any entrepreneur, is just flexibility and knowing that there are contingency plans that you can have in place.
Yeah. And just be okay with the up and down. Teresa says you're doing great, Florence. Yes, she's doing amazing.
Big Girl Interrupted have to stay together, ladies.
That's what we're about. So can you just explain a little bit about your coaching practice? And what do you offer? What do you do?
Right. So it's on a high level. It is an 8-week course, and where we do examine things like mindset, your voice, using your voice. At the end, sort of kind of like a break, but also like a nice relaxing break, is I have my life art therapeutic life coach certification. And so I try to incorporate a piece of art in our working together.
Right.
And so at one point I did do a vision board. At other points I've done masterpieces, or like they create a piece of art just to sort of talk about their journey, or visually show their journey of how they thought the program was for them. Yeah. So I kind of incorporate art, and I'm a big believer in art being such a great therapeutic tool for everyone.
Yes. So am I. And that's great, because I feel like, I don't know if this is for you, but I know that when we started researching like coaching practices and what was out there, because it's part of like when you start doing when you're thinking about being a coach, you have to go out there and research.
Yeah, and your market research for sure.
Right. And there wasn't a lot of tangible of when you walk away. So when you walk away and you've done like your 8-week course, I now have this like reminder to hold me accountable of the 8 weeks that I did.
Exactly.
Right. You know, the 8 weeks that I invested in myself.
Exactly.
And there's a clear, tangible visual that, okay, and these are the things that Florence taught me. I love that you do that. And I love that it's art.
It's also important too, I think, to also note, yes, you are helping your clients, but it's also your clients' responsibility to be 100% accountable to themselves. Yes, they took their chance, and they trusted us as coaches to be in their program, but it's also them that they have to do the work as well, right? Because we can only do so much, but we're not you.
No. And that's the thing with coaching, is you have to, when somebody comes to you, they're ready to do the work. They're ready to, unpack whatever needs to be unpacked and pulled out of that bag. And sometimes and I'm not going to say sometimes, most of the time, once you go really deep, it's hard. It's hard work.
Yeah, it does take a toll on you. And I think that's why it comes back to detoxing or decompressing, because sometimes you may need that because a client may take a lot out of you. And so know that you have that permission to take a day off the next day, or even the next hour, just decompress and just get back to you.
Yeah. So it's important that you take care of yourself. Very, very important.
Very important.
So have there been any changes, going back to your 2020 goals and what it looked like in January to now, what it looks like in today? And I know you just started, you made the pivot to launch your coaching practice. Were there any other changes that you had to make throughout this process?
Yeah. So on a personal note, I'm an open book, so I can really share whatever. I actually just got out of a long-term relationship, and I shouldn't even just say just. A year ago, I got out of that long-term relationship. And so now navigating, the dating scene in your 40s is a little bit different. And again, we're adding COVID to the mix, so it even makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
However, I said to myself, when I turned 40, so that was 2 years ago, when I turned 40, I said that was my professional and personal development year. And so now I'm in year 42, and that year has become plural. And so it's always a continuous and learning experience for myself. And I'm learning new things about myself every day. And honestly, you're your biggest cheerleader, and you're the one that is spending the most time with yourself. So you've got to love yourself. And so doing that inner work definitely has helped. And like I said, my family and friends have always been there for me to support. And so they're a really great support system in my life.
Thank you. Amazing. I love that. I love that. So what's one thing you want the Big Girl Interrupted community to know about you and your community?
Right. So to be honest, everyone, and I always try to say this and I try to incorporate this, you are not your disability and you are not your circumstance. And so everybody is here for peer support. Everybody is here to lend a helping hand to the world in general, in the state that we are all in. Everybody, we are in a project that we have to pass, and we are not passing that project. And so we need to be all together. We need to know that we're in it together. We've got to be better. We've got to do better. And the only way to do that is start talking to one another, start saying hello, start being that friendly person. I did a post a while ago about Napoleon Hill's 3 rules to success. And one of his rules was exist politely with everybody. Right. So that goes back to the golden rule. Just treat others how you would like to be treated.
Yeah.
It's as basic as that, Hazel.
Yep. I affirm that 100%.
1000%.
Yes. And okay, so as you're now hit the entrepreneurial world, what's one word of advice do you have for an entrepreneur coming up who's thinking of becoming an entrepreneur?
Right.
What advice do you have for them?
Right. So it's going to be a little more than one word. It's going to be just do it in light of what Nike says, just do it. And honestly, to everyone, don't live with regrets, because if you are, going to be 60 and said, oh, I wish I did that when I was younger. You don't want to kind of say that, right? Yeah. So honestly, nobody's going to hard knock you for trying. Nobody's going to knock you down for trying out something. And you trying out something could lead to leaps and bounds in your life, right? Yeah. And then you'll be totally happy that you did that leap. And have faith in yourself, just because you are your biggest cheerleader, as I mentioned.
I thank you. That's a very important message that you provided. Beautiful. So I like to do our new question jar with random questions. So let's do 4 questions here.
We have time? Okay, sure.
Yeah, we have time. So I'm just going to pull out a question.
Sure.
First question. Where would you go if you were invisible?
Oh, that's a really great question. The humorous side, I think, in me would say the men's bathroom to just hear what they're saying. But the logical person in me would probably say, where would I go? I would love to go to Hawaii, to be honest. If I was invisible, I would love to go to Hawaii.
What would you do there?
So my mom and I actually went years and years ago, and the plan actually this year was to go to celebrate her birthday this year, but obviously COVID happened, so we didn't go.
Mhm.
I honestly just love the idea of just walking in Hawaii. It was just a lovely walking city, and I just remember the palm trees and all that good stuff, luau's, all that good stuff, Hawaiian boys, yeah.
Love it, love it. I've never been to Hawaii.
You've never been?
No,
Oh,
no.
yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Okay. Oh, these ones I can tell by the structure of it
Okay.
how deep it is. Okay, so here's your question. What's the best and worst piece of advice you ever received?
Okay. The best advice, and it's actually that one that I mentioned, meaning you are not your disability.
Mhm.
I don't know if I actually came up with it myself, but I don't remember hearing it from anyone. I think I just said to myself one day, "You are not your disability." So I believe that's the best piece of advice that I could give.
Mhm.
The worst piece of advice, and it's not so much somebody's advice. It was okay. Them telling me that I can't do something only drives me further and gives me more drive to do that thing. And so, unfortunately, there's been some naysayers wondering, what are you doing in the coaching space, Florence? But that drives me, and
Yeah.
that just gives me more motivation to prove you wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's and the can't is my like power, internal
Yeah.
power. I love it. Tell me I can't because I'm gonna prove you.
Well, it's exactly when you say to a kid, "Oh, don't touch that, don't touch
Yes,
that," and they're going to
you're
obviously
gonna
touch it.
touch it. Right. Oh, okay.
Okay. Number 3.
Yep. Number 3. What has been the most stressful experience in your life?
Oh, that's easy because it's my mental health.
Mm,
Again, total disclaimer: I'm an open book. I did spend time on the psychiatric ward because my mental health was so stressed, and
mhm, mhm.
so, but I needed that time to decompress and detox and just get back to myself because
Right.
that made me a stronger person nonetheless at the end of it all. Yes, I did have my relapses, but then again, those were those times that made me a stronger person. And that's why I'm here right now, because I've struggled and I've been through those things and I have shown resilience and courage in all that's happened to me, right?
Mhm, mhm. Amazing. And thank you for sharing.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. Honestly, like I'm always here for support for anybody. If anybody needs a lending ear or an ear to listen to them, I'm here for peer support.
And the my takeaway from what you shared with us is one, because I work in the mental health sector, so it's even more empowering to see that you've had your lows and you've come up really high,
Thank you.
and you've got like really good tools, really good strategies in place of how do you handle, because we are going to experience those lows. You know,
Exactly. It's
it's
just the nature of life.
right, and for my low and your low are going to be different. Our body's going to absorb it
Right.
differently and take it in differently, but we need to be prepared and have strategies for how we respond to that. So that's thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank
And
you.
it's easy. It's even as simple as just closing your eyes and focusing on your breath sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Just knowing that you could just escape for that little bit
Yes.
really helps.
Yeah. Like for us, Big Girl Interrupted, we're very Wendy's trained in mindfulness. And that's like our real, like our big tool. Just do a body scan.
Right.
Just
Yeah, I just learned what body scan was when I did Jay Shetty's meditation during COVID.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize what it was until then.
Yeah, it's such a easy, and nobody needs to know you're doing it.
Exactly.
Easy, powerful tool. You can even do it with your eyes closed or your eyes open. I do it sometimes with my eyes open and I'm just staring, and you have no idea what I'm doing as I scan through my body, right? So it's
And it's
beautiful.
so powerful.
Very, very powerful. Okay, last question. What is your dream job?
Oh, I'm doing it now.
Amazing.
I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now.
Amazing. That's so good. What does it feel like to be doing your dream job? Like
It feels
really
awesome knowing that, again, one, you are making a difference and you're fulfilling those values that you have within yourself.
Mhm.
It's definitely a great feeling. Honestly, it's allowed me to meet so many new people, so many, not only just coaches, but, you know, potential clients, or not even potential clients, but just new people in general. And so this world that's opened up to me has been so fantastic. And I can only imagine how much better it's going to be. And I just started. So
yeah. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Florence, I want to say thank you.
Hazel, it was been a pleasure.
I love the conversation. I love the openness that you shared, and the transparency that you shared with us, with our community.
My pleasure.
And I definitely, you know, encourage people who are watching to share, like, and follow. And Florence, all Florence's details are there below in the comments to follow her, check her out, reach out to her. She's the Chief Happiness Officer, and she definitely is 100%. So make sure you follow her and check her out. And I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Florence. It's been a pleasure. And when we can see again, we'll definitely be seeing each other.
For sure, yes. So give my regards to Wendy. I think is she doing the back end of everything?
Not today. This one I do all on my own.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Oh, one girl show. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Please give my regards to Wendy, of course.
I will.
Yes, and to you and the family. I hope you stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, Hazel. This was fun.
Okay, bye.
Bye.